Chapter 30, The Touch. My best moments were always when it was just us, a handful of his followers, just closest friends and Yeshua. We would often spend the evening sitting on the shore of the Sea of Galilee, a fire lit, fresh grilling, laughing, joshing each other, and often ribbing Yeshua too. He was easy to mimic. It was at these sorts of times that Yeshua seemed happiest. No pressures, no demands. But those times were becoming rarer. Often a whole village or town would be trailing after him. For us, it was a strange dynamic. On the other hand, it was exhilarating, and some of the fishermen ended up like bodyguards for him. They enjoyed it. But on the other hand, the crowds were relentless, and they took him away from us. More and more, we just wanted to spend time alone with him. He had that effect on people. It was still my nature to hang back a bit, especially when he was surrounded by people. I preferred to observe from a distance. I liked to see the whole picture. I was never one for getting carried away. It was why moments like this one stick with me so strongly, because I had witnessed the crowd and the chaos from among it, as I was busy trying to extract myself. There must have been 100 people jostling and pushing around him as we walked through this village. It seemed that the word had travelled fast that Yeshua was in town, and everyone was out to get a glimpse of the man that so many people were talking about. The noise of the crowd was so loud, it was hard to think. Some of the other followers were yelling at people to keep back and give the master some room. And that's when I saw her. She looked old, but I reckon she was younger than she appeared. She was obviously poor just from her appearance. She was dressed in an old shawl and her skin was etched with furrows and pain. She had trouble walking, and it was clear that every step was a battle. She was moving along at the very back of the crowd and was desperately trying to find a way through to Yeshua, but it was proving impossible. She was too weak and kept getting repelled by the sheer number of people in the crowd. When Yeshua paused and turned to talk to someone, the crowd swayed and surged around him. As people shifted position to get a better view, a small gap opened behind him, and this woman didn't wait. She scuttled forward, back bent, eyes locked on Yeshua. When she had got as close as she was possible able, she bent over even further and lunged past the last few people crowded in around Yeshua. I was the opposite side of Yeshua, but could see the bony hands she stretched out towards him. She barely managed to touch the hem of his cloak, and the touch of her finger on cloth only lasted a heartbeat. But it was enough. Instantly she pulled back, away from the crowd. I tried to see where she was going and then spotted her having fallen back behind the surging crowd. But she wasn't shuffling in pain like she had been before. She was standing up straight, staring back towards us, where Yeshua was. Her face was raised to the sky, shining with joy and wet with tears. Then I noticed Yeshua had stopped his conversation and was silent. Everyone simmered down and waited for him to speak. He then called out in a clear voice, "Who touched my robe?" It was an odd question for the crowd to hear. "What are you talking about?" Andreas replied to him. "With this crowd like this, everyone's touching you." But Yeshua wanted to know who had touched him. He asked the question again. I kept my eye on the woman. I had seen it all, and now she was looking terrified. She was trying to blend into the crowd again, to hide. all the light had drained from her face. Once more, Yeshua called out the question. The crowd stopped pushing and started to give him space to look around. Slowly, the woman took a step forward, then another, meekly edging towards Yeshua. When she was within reach of him, she dropped onto her knees. She was sobbing, and she was trying to explain. She told him that she had been bleeding for 12 years. Doctors had tricked her out of her money, and she had lost all hope. Then she had heard about Yeshua. She was desperate. I thought, if I could only put a finger on your robe, I would get well. She was trembling by this point. Yeshua bent down and put his head close to hers. The crowd watched on in anticipation. Just like with the Samaritan woman, Yeshua's face was bright with compassion, as if somehow he knew every moment of her pain, all that she had been through. "Daughter," he said, "you took a risk of faith, and now you're healed and whole. Live well, be healed of your plague." She slowly stood up, and the colour flooded back into her face. The tears continued to fall as she hugged Yeshua, and the crowd cheered. Even my eyes pricked with emotion at that point. It's hard to fake raw emotion like I was seeing on this woman's face. We all knew something amazing had happened to her, something beautiful. To me, though, it was still not an undeniable miracle, at least as far as my cynical brain could decipher. To me, it didn't mean Yeshua really was God himself. After all, people stage healing hoaxes all the time. But something was happening in me, and all of us close to him, and with everyone who came into contact with this extraordinary human being. And this sort of encounter was starting to happen a lot. When he was with people, I guess he just couldn't help himself, always wanting to make people whole and well, insides and out, always affirming, nudging us all towards love, towards mercy, and towards the light. And he did this in so many little ways, all day long. It was just incredible to be part of it all. As for Yeshua, he wasn't interested in the adulation. As soon as moments like this happened, he tended to want to retreat with us, to get away again, as was his way.